Welcome back to a timey-wimey pod where we watch every episode of Doctor Who from 2005 onwards. My name's Rebecca,
I'm Haley.
and today we are discussing Series 2, Episode 12, Army of Ghost.
Yes, we are. And I'm not happy about it.
We really did not want to talk about this episode. We don't want to talk about next week's episode. I think we should just skip and I don't know, go talk about Peter Capaldi or something.
I agree. Or you know what? Let's just skip to the Runaway Bride.
Yeah, let's do that. Actually, the Runaway Bride is also painful. So
No, it actually is painful. Let's actually skip specifically. You know what? Like you said, Peter Capaldi.
yeah, Peter Capaldi. But we're here, guys. We're in the last episodes of Series 2, and we're gonna enjoy it. We're gonna enjoy the time we have left in this series. Or we're gonna try to, at least. Are you ready for some fantastic facts?
Yes, I am.
My first fantastic fact is that the episodes were almost called Torchwood Rises and Torchwood Falls.
Interesting. I kind of
Yeah.
like Army of Ghosts better, though.
Me too. And Doomsday, I think, is a great episode for next week. But I do kind of like the idea that they were leading up to this big Torchwood moment.
Yeah.
The sarcophagus that we see when Rose emerges from the TARDIS after Torchwood moves it is one that was used in Pyramids of Mars. And that episode keeps coming up this year.
It really does. It's the one episode that just isn't getting any sleep.
Yeah, she's alive and well. Now, a couple weeks ago, Haley, you informed us all about a beautiful thing called the TARDISodes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know, the TARDISodes were essentially these 30-second, little prologues to each episode of the series. They were posted online. In The Idiot's Lantern, we talked about how for that week, the TARDISode was the grandma getting her face sucked by the TV. In this episode, the TARDISode was a reporter investigating Torchwood, going into the history, what is it, all that. But it was almost something very different. It was almost a shot of the Doctor leaving flowers at Rose and Jackie's graves.
Shut up.
No. I wish I could. But can you imagine how heartbreaking, how painful that would be?
I can't even articulate with words how much more that would have completely destroyed me. That to be a TARDISode, not even an actual episode, a TARDISode of their graves.
Tumblr would have gone wild with that image back in the day.
Oh my gosh. The internet would have been set ablaze. It would have been insane.
If someone could make some fan art of this, that would be really amazing. And I'd love it.
I would forever thank you.
All right, let's jump into the episode. I love this opening so much. This little rom-com tragic montage we get.
Oh, I completely agree. Whatever your thoughts and feelings are about this episode and the next episode, I think we can all agree this intro, it slaps because it starts off with Rose on the bus, and then there's a clip of Ten and Rose running. Then
we get to see Christopher Eccleston for a second.
We do. We get to see a snippet of him saying "Run from Rose," which is just it made me so happy to see that.
Yeah.
And we also see Rose and Ten on a planet, and Ten asks Rose, "How long are you going to stay with me?" And Rose says, "Forever."
Forever.
And if that is not the most romantic scene with the two of them, I don't know what to say.
Earlier today I texted you saying that I could write a whole essay about how that is one of the most romantic scenes of the whole show. And here's my essay. I love that 2-second scene so much. It is, first off, beautiful, whatever planet they are on. I love them standing next to each other. And the way the doctor just kind of looks at her and, how long are you going to stay with me? Like, it's so beautiful and such a like raw moment for them to just be kind of like slapped into this montage. Like, that is such a like vulnerable question for the doctor to ask. It's so beautiful, and it shows how much Rose really loves him and really believes like she is going to be with him forever. She never plans on leaving. Like, her life is with the doctor, and it just shows how much they love each other, and it is so heartbreaking, and I can't get over it. 2 seconds, but I'll never be the same.
I also can't get over it, and it is 2 seconds that have forever altered my brain chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
But can I just say, that stupid beach,
That damn
Bad Wolf
beach.
Bay, with Rose saying, "I'm Rose, and this is the story of how I died." Girl,
So dramatic.
so dramatic. Okay, I think we need to like flashback and share like my experience and your experience watching this for the first time.
Oh, yes. I completely forgot. So I watched this alone in the dark at night. I think I watched these two episodes together. In fact, I definitely did. And then when I got Haley to watch the show, I made sure. I was like, you have to watch this with me. Because one, I want to see your reaction. And two, you need emotional support.
And that I did. And can I just say, that was the nicest thing you could have ever done. Because if I had watched those 2 episodes on my own back then, I would have stopped living. I needed that emotional support. I remember, and this is more like Doomsday, but at the end of Doomsday, me and you were on your bed in your old house sobbing, and your mom comes in and she thought we were like laughing so hard we were crying.
Yeah. And I remember we were watching Holding My Baby Brother, who's now like
Yeah.
10.
I was gonna say I was gonna bring that up. But yeah, it was a really good call for you to say that I needed to watch it alongside you. And if I remember correctly, you had like temporarily stopped watching the show until I got to Army of Ghosts and Doomsday.
Yes. Doomsday sent me into such an emotional, I don't even know what you would call it, but I had to stop watching the show for 5 months. Like, I couldn't carry on. And back in the day, they had Classic Who on Netflix, if you could believe it. So I just started watching some Classic Who episodes. And that's why I have the little bit of Classic Who knowledge that I do.
Unfortunately, I do not have that Classic Who knowledge, but you know what? That's okay.
Maybe we'll get there. Who knows? We'll see. I love Ten and Rose going to visit Jackie, and think about the deleted scene of them like holding hands, walking up to the apartment.
Just should have been kept in with them holding hands.
It should have been kept in, yeah. And the blue sweater. I hate to say it because the blue sweater is also gives me trauma, but it's so iconic. It's one of her best looks of the series, and if someone has that blue sweater, please give it to me because I would do anything to have it.
Oh, same. I just want to know why. Why did it take until this episode for her to wear one of her best outfits?
No, it's so cruel. I love seeing all the TV footage of the ghost, especially like the one like dramatic show. I don't know what that is. We're American, sorry, but of them like in the pub and the woman is like talking to the ghost. Also, are the ghosts getting paid? Are they are they union members? Are they in SAG-AFTRA? Like, how does that work?
Are the ghosts getting exploited? Do we need to create laws for the ghosts?
Oh, these ghosts are getting exploited. That one woman, she loves her ghost.
I was going to bring that up because I don't know why, but that is my Roman Empire where she's like, I fell in love with a ghost. That's my ghost.
That's my ghost. No, it's so funny. And it's great. We find out that these ghosts have been around for like 2 months.
Yeah, and I just need to say this. I love Jackie Tyler with all my heart and soul, but girl, she really seems like she lost it in this episode for a minute there. Like in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah, no, I do really feel bad for Jackie, but it also kind of makes sense. Like, I think we talked about in Love and Monsters, she's really alone. She doesn't, especially
Yeah.
now that Mickey's gone, and, she talked about how she tried to get a hold of Rose and the doctor. She's just going through it. So I think after a while, she really wanted to believe that it was her dad. So I do feel bad for her.
I mean, I agree with you. She definitely is lonely and she wants to like believe that it's her dad and that it's these like family members who have passed on because like that's such a nice, thing versus, what they truly are, which is Cybermen coming
Mhm.
through. But I don't know if this is just me, but like Jackie has been there. She's witnessed every alien encounter and invasion since
Mhm.
Rose. She was there for the Sycorax ship. Like, she is always suspicious. She clocked Elton in Love and Monsters. And I mean, she does explain that, like, when the ghosts first came, everyone was panicking, but then everyone grew to, like, just accept them.
Mhm.
I just have a little bit of a problem of her just, like, accepting it completely and not being suspicious at all.
No, I do agree. I think because of everything she's seen, she should be a little more suspicious. But like I said, I do get it. But yeah, I do agree with you. We got to talk about a little cameo we have in this episode from Freema. Yes, we meet who we later realize is Martha's cousin, who was working for Torchwood.
Long live Adiola.
Rest in peace, Queen. I love you and your messy office relationship.
Oh my gosh, she was so messy for that. But like,
Yeah.
you know what? You go, girl.
And I love how Yvonne was like, they think we don't know. Of
Mm-hmm.
course they know.
Yeah.
Everyone always knows. No one notices that the three of them are wearing like double headsets.
Okay, that always irritates me because I'm like, you're at Torchwood, you notice everything. You've noticed the doctor and Rose and like everything, but you don't notice that your own employees have two AirPods and they're like zoned into their computers and not responding to you.
Apparently not.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry. What kind of institution are you if you have a construction out of bounds area that has the Cybermen and like no one knows until Adiola and Gareth go there? Like, shouldn't
That
you
is
have cameras or
crazy.
something?
Yeah, you're right. They literally had Cybermen just chilling in their building and they had no idea.
Yeah, like there was no guards around the area. Like, that's just interesting. Unless they like
Yeah.
just appeared.
We get a really fun little TARDIS moment where we get the iconic Ghostbusters moment.
I love that moment. And
Mm-hmm.
in searching for reviews for this episode, a lot of people hated on this moment, sadly. Exactly, because it's iconic and we love it. And that's that.
Y'all just hate fun. Y'all just hate joy.
Y'all really do.
I love when Jackie's talking about the ghost and she's like, it's our loved ones, coming back home. Don't you think that's beautiful? And the doctor says, I think it's horrific.
What's your opinion? Like, if someone you loved came as a ghost, would you agree with the doctor or would you agree with Jackie?
I think if I just saw them for like a moment, I would be like, "Oh my gosh." But if they were like showing up every day, I would be like, "Yeah, this is kind of weird. This is unnatural."
Especially because they literally appeared in shifts, like they were
Mhm.
working.
Yeah, they were clocked in. They were getting employee of the month. And then we get this conversation with Jackie and Rose in the TARDIS, and they talk about how much Rose has changed. And Jackie even says that Rose even looks like the doctor now. And Rose is kind of proud of that. She takes it as a compliment and she's like, yeah, I guess I do.
No, I love that moment and I think it's so cute that Rose is like flattered at that.
Mm-hmm.
I find it interesting though that Jackie continues talking to Rose and tells her like that she's changed, and not only does she look like him, but she asks Rose, "What about when Jackie's gone?" And Rose tells her she can't settle down because the doctor never will. And Jackie responds by saying, 50 years from now, there will be this strange woman in some market on another planet who keeps changing, and she's no longer Rose Tyler, no longer human. And I just find that like really thought provoking and interesting because it's the perspective of her mother. And of course, her mom would have something to say about all of this. But Rose basically admitted to Jackie, like, I'm in this for the long haul. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not coming back.
Yeah, I think this conversation is really, really interesting because, in one sense, Jackie is right. Like, if Rose were to stay with the doctor forever, she would have changed a lot. She would have become a completely different person, even more than she has already changed. But I don't think she understands that. I think that's what Rose wants. You know, she wants to stay with him. She has no intention of leaving. She knows how alone the doctor has been his whole life, and she wants to be there for him. And I think Jackie just doesn't understand that.
I agree. And I think, too, Jackie, I mean, if you think about it, like, what mother wants to let go of their child to
Oh
someone
no.
like the doctor?
No. Yeah. She's Jackie's right. No, like I said, Jackie's completely right in everything she's saying, and
Hmm.
it's understandable that this isn't the life she would really want for Rose, but I think, this is what Rose wants. I don't think she really has any interest in settling down and having a normal life. Like, she did that. She she even says first line in the episode, like, nothing happened for 19 years, nothing at all,
Yeah.
and she doesn't want to go back. And after this, we get the appearance of the iconic 3D glasses, which I actually like. I have problems with because these two episodes are the only time we ever see the 10th Doctor with these 3D glasses, but in every single item of merch, fan art, whatever related to the 10th Doctor, he has these friggin' 3D glasses. And people are so obsessed. And I honestly don't really get it. Honestly, I'm like, I don't get it. You can't see it, but Haley is holding up the Build-A-Bear exclusive 10th Doctor Build-A-Bear, who also has the 3D glasses attached to him. That's how
Yeah, it's
iconic
kind
these glasses are.
yeah, they're really iconic. It's kind of a problem at this point.
I just feel like,
I
why this? Like, I know there's not as many gadgets, I guess. Like, the 11
yeah.
has the fez and the bow tie, but it's like, why these freaking glasses? Why this?
No, that's such a great point, and I would like that answer. Um, I do like though, like the first appearance of them when
Oh
10
yeah.
is setting up like cones and whatnot, trying to figure out the source of these ghosts. And I mean, at this point, we don't know why he has 3D glasses on, but we later learn it's in Doomsday though that we learn
Yeah.
that you can see like particles from the parallel world. Anyways, a little bit
Yeah.
of a spoiler, but um it's like after this point too, we get the iconic TARDIS scene where 10 is being so flirty with Rose and telling her what buttons to press, and
Oh, yes.
as he goes to travel in the TARDIS, all Rose says is, "My mom is still on board."
Hmm. If we end up on Mars, I'm gonna kill ya.
I love this scene so much. I don't think anyone understands how much I love this scene.
This is also where we get the very first Alonzi, which is kind of crazy.
Oh my gosh. Wait,
Hmm.
you're right.
Yeah, it's crazy. We went through this whole series, and just now we're getting the first Alonzi.
That's crazy. He also says Alonzi Alonso in here, and I wonder
Hmm.
if in the future he'll be able to actually say that to an Alonzo.
I guess we'll find out. I love how when he meets Yvonne, he asks if Torchwood has anyone named Alonso.
No, it's such a great moment. I also love when they arrive at Torchwood and Rose is like, Doctor, they all have guns. And then Tin just says, yeah, but I'm unarmed, so, if they shoot me dead, I'll have the moral high ground. And it's just such a Tin thing to say.
I love, he says, but I don't, and that makes me the better person. Like, it's such a funny thing, and I love how he, like, moves Rose aside. Like, it's so funny. Iconic lines.
Also, him pulling Jackie out and saying she's Rose, but like, he's like, she's not the best I've ever had. She's too blonde. Last week, she looked into the time vortex and aged 57 years. And Jackie's like, oi, I'm only 40. And the doctor's like, deluded. And Jackie just wants to smack him right there and then. And it's just, their whole dynamic is hilarious.
It really is. I love how Jackie has to pretend to be Rose, and it's really funny.
No,
Now,
it's so great.
do you think he left Rose in the TARDIS to protect her, or so she could kind of go investigate on her own and try to figure out what was going on?
See, that's a question I always have. Because I don't know which one I believe more.
You know, I used to think it was to protect her, but now I think it was so she could go investigate, because we even see when Torchwood is moving the TARDIS, Rose like opens the door, which crazy that no one saw that, by the way.
I know.
She fully opens that door. And her and Ten look at each other and he just kind of nods. And I feel like that's him telling her, go do what you got to do. We'll connect later, because he knows she's good at figuring this stuff out. We always talk about it. She's always the one to first notice things and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I do lean towards that more now, but like I said, sometimes I can't decide. But yeah, she gets the psychic paper, and that scene where she's looking for it is so cute. I'm sorry, it just is.
No, I love it.
And then her exiting, and finding a lab coat. And I just want to say, why doesn't she lock the TARDIS?
What do you mean? Like, does she close the doors, or what do you mean?
She closes the door to the TARDIS, but she doesn't lock the TARDIS with the key. So is the TARDIS unlocked?
I don't think, but that makes a good question. In my mind, when the TARDIS door closes, it's locked. Like, it kind of automatically locks behind them.
That's what I feel like too, but I mean, we've seen companions before lock the TARDIS after leaving it.
Yeah, a little inconsistency, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I think we should talk about Torchwood and like all of the elements, because that's a really big part. And I think we should start with the head of Torchwood, at least in these 2 episodes, which is Yvonne. What are your thoughts on her?
I kind of like Yvonne in like a villain-esque type of way, misguided leader. Like, I don't know, she's very interesting. She's very engaging and intriguing. I love when she meets the doctor and she's like, yes, it's you, hooray. Like, that's really fun. I love the moment later on when they're talking about the sphere coming in, and the 10 breaks the glass, and then he just lets her go on with the ghost shift. And we'll get into it more later, but I think she's really interesting.
I agree.
Now, when I first watched this series, I didn't pick up on the Torchwood Easter eggs at all. I don't know what I was doing. They flew right by me. So, was it the same thing for you?
I honestly don't really remember. I do remember for a really long time I always got Torchwood and Unit confused with each other. And I can never like figure out the difference, and I always forgot. But like the Easter eggs, I don't really remember. For me, I feel like Bad Wolf was one thing in series 1. Like that was so good, and so like I would have never guessed. Still gags me to this day. But like Torchwood in series 2, honestly, it kind of falls flat a little bit for me.
I think we talked about this before, but in an alternate version of series 2, I think it would have been interesting if they kept coming across Torchwood. Like they already knew about Torchwood
Yeah.
and had worked with them, and they kind of like thought they were okay. They thought they were doing good things, and then they meet the newest version in this episode, and like everything's gone bad. It's been like taken over. I don't know. I feel like there are better ways to kind of set up this agency, but I don't know.
No, I agree with that. And I mean, Yvonne talks to the doctor and is like, yeah, we noticed this like giant energy source in the sky. And so we were like, let's build a tower up to it to investigate what it is. And it's just like, why didn't you leave it alone?
Why would they? Are we even surprised?
Honestly, no, because humans and Doctor Who are stupid. And I mean, humans in real life are stupid too. Like, let's just be real. Like, we're not the smartest bunch. But like, it's really hard for me to talk about these 2 episodes objectively because of the end result. So I just have a bit of a grudge against Torchwood. But the big giant like sphere is this void ship that was in the void, which is this darkness outside of space, outside of time, between dimensions, right? Which I find that concept really interesting, and I do like that concept. And I also find the concept of like each time they, open the breach with the ghost shifts, that cracks the universe even more. I like that too, because it's just like a different kind of like storyline and perspective of the universe in Doctor Who.
Yeah. No, I really like that. And I really want to go into the void. I think we should have an episode where we like somehow end up in the void. I just think that would be really spooky and interesting. But like you said, that scene where, they're talking about the hole and 10 cracks the glass, I already kind of talked about it, but I love when 10 and Yvonne are going back and forth and he's trying to get her not to do the ghost shift, and she's like, we've done this thousands of times, it's fine. And I love when he's like, okay, that's fine, and he just pulls up a chair, and he's like, oh, that's such a good moment.
Such a good moment. I love it so much. I also love when Rose goes into the room where the sphere is, and she's like, okay, what is this? Something about this is just like really, really off. And we see a face we recognize.
The Mickey Smith reveal is always so iconic. I remember being so shook when he showed up.
Oh, I was so excited when he showed up the first time I watched this.
And I just love, his little shh, don't say anything. It's iconic. And I love later at the end when the other guy is like, Samuel, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm not Samuel. I'm Mickey Smith, defending the earth. Iconic.
Also, the scene where 10 is just sitting with his legs propped up on a table, and Yvonne is like, this girl came into this room where the sphere is, saying she was someone with a psychic paper. Do you recognize her? And he's like, never seen her before in my life.
So
and then
good.
She's like, okay, well, then we'll just have her shot then. And he's like, oh, all right. It was worth a try. That's Rose Tyler. And then Yvonne is like, so who's that? Pointing to Jackie. And he's like, that's her mother. And he's like, please. And like, my file in Torchwood, do not put that I travel with her mother. I have a reputation to uphold.
He's gone domestic. What Nine feared all along. No, I love that scene. And Rose just, her saying hi and sorry over the monitor. So cute.
And like we said, Yvonne was like, okay, we'll cancel the ghost shift. But what do you know? All of the desk employees now all have earpods,
headsets, whatever you want to call them.
And they are working together to open the breach because guess what? It's a Cyberman coming through, not ghosts.
From the parallel universe.
Yeah, which I find so crazy. And I also kind of find it crazy that like it took a minute for 10 to clock the earpods. But like as soon as he did,
Mm,
he was like, yeah. So
yeah.
this isn't good at all.
Yeah. Oh, and I hate when Yvonne like pulls it out and like all that goo comes out in that
Brain
big
goo.
long thing. No, I don't like it.
No, it's so gross. And poor Adiola, she dies. And as do all the other people because 10 disables the AirPods. But before we know it, the Cybermen start coming in and
I
command the
actually
breach to remain open.
I actually find the Cybermen kind of scary here. And at least under Russell, I don't think the Cybermen were particularly scary. But the scene, when all the ghosts, it's clear they're Cybermen. And especially that scene when they like go into that house with that family, that's really scary.
That scene is always so hard for me to watch because the thought of it is so brutal. Because, like,
Hmm.
there's literally family members trying to run away from the Cybermen storming into the house.
Yeah. And then there's like already one like upstairs somehow. And
I
ugh,
hate it. I hate it. They are scary. I agree with you. Like under Russell with the Cybermen, I don't always feel scared or intimidated by them. But in this episode, at the end, I am very like scared because
hmm,
ugh, I just it's so crazy. And like 10 just like gives up and he's like just like follow what they're saying. And it's just wild. But what's even more wild, and I remember when I watched this for the first time and 10 asked the Cybermen about the sphere,
mm,
the chills I got watching this when they were like, the sphere is not ours. And then the
yeah.
music just starts to build and the sphere opens and it's the Daleks. I will say that's a great Dalek reveal. A
Oh
really
yeah.
great one.
It's really good. And Rose's face, like Mickey's like, those aren't Cybermen. And Rose's face just goes white. And yeah, that is a really good moment. And I do really like the idea in this finale of having the Daleks and the Cybermen kind of face off
Mm,
against each other. That
yeah.
is really fun.
Oh, I completely agree with you. And I do feel like the cliffhanger was a pretty good cliffhanger in this
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Definitely.
Like, I think it's a better cliffhanger than Bad Wolf.
Yeah, but I just love the ending of Bad Wolf where it's like, Rose, I'm coming to get you, and I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
wipe
no.
every stinking Dalek out of the sky.
Oh, no. I love that one way more, but like comparing it, like, not objectively, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, plot wise, the way it was
Mm.
written, I think it's a bit stronger, but I
Yeah,
love
I
Bad Wolf
do.
more.
I agree with you. It's a really great cliffhanger, and just I can imagine, if you were watching this week to week, having the Daleks come in, and that was the surprise. Like I even read that they kept that ending from reviewers who saw like a preview, so
Mm-hmm.
no one knew that was coming. So that's pretty good.
It is. And something I wanted to talk about that I skipped ahead, but it's when Yvonne is telling the doctor that Torchwood's motto is if it's alien, it's ours. And so they literally take all alien related objects, gadgets, whatever it is, and they strip them down. And that's just so crazy because they're like, yeah, the TARDIS is ours now. And Doctor, you're enemy because Queen Victoria chartered the Torchwood Institution and she declared you an enemy of the crown.
Hmm. And I love how they just think, he's just gonna be their prisoner now. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
just gonna happen.
Yeah. This episode is like a lot of setting up, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, I really like this episode. With this episode and next week, I always experience what I call doomsday amnesia
Mm-hmm.
because the trauma at the end of Doomsday is all I can remember. And I always forget, wait, these episodes are really good. Like before the trauma happens, like these were really interesting. Like I like everything that's going on with the characters, and I kind of like seeing Torchwood and stuff, and Yovan I find interesting. But yeah, so it is a lot of setup, but it's all just building to next week.
Unfortunately. And
Mm-hmm.
I also have Doomsday amnesia, and like to the point where if you ask me what Army of Ghosts is about, I can't tell you the plot. I can't. I can be like, well, there's ghosts coming from the parallel worlds and there's Torchwood, but like I can't tell you the actual plot. That always happens until I actually start watching this. And like you mentioned, I'm always like, oh my gosh, I forgot how good this episode is. And I
Mm-hmm.
always watch Army of Ghosts and then Doomsday like immediately
Yeah.
together. And so, like, not doing that is interesting because it's making me sit more in this episode and realize how much I actually really enjoy Army of Ghosts as an
Yeah.
episode.
No, this is a really good episode. Like, and I'm excited to talk about most of next week's episode. Because that one I even less so kind of remember what happens until the
Mm-hmm.
end. But yeah, these are really good. I like for a series that kind of has weaker moments throughout, like the ending is really, really strong.
I agree.
Now, we're going to save heart of the story and star of the show until next week. But do we have any reviews from the past?
We do have some reviews from the past. This first review I have is from IMDb by the user movieman_Kev. And this was written on January 24th, 2007. And he said, starting with Rose's heartbreaking monologue and ending in quite possibly the best cliffhanger for a Doctor Who two-parter in recent memory, this episode is full of surprises, returning characters both good as well as evil, great characterization, and more. It's just brilliant all around. The only drawbacks are that it is steeped in Who mythology. And for those who, for
Mm.
some reason, choose this as their first episode of the current incarnation of Doctor Who,
Oh.
will be lost. And the other thing is not a detriment of the show in the least, more a detriment to me, as so much happens that I truly can't talk about the actual plot too much without spoiling it. And trust me, this is an episode you'd want to go into knowing nothing about.
Who's going into this episode as their first episode? Who starts at the second to last episode of a season?
That's exactly what I was going to bring up because no person in their right mind would be like, oh yeah, I am starting with the two-parter finale of the second season of Doctor Who.
We've talked about this before, but I hate the where's a good jumping in point question. Just start at the beginning. I don't care that there's 14 seasons. Just start at the beginning, okay? It's there, it goes by fast. There's only 12 episodes a season. Stop crying. Also, I wanted to say about the opening monologue. Do we ever see a companion narrate an episode ever again?
Doesn't Martha narrate a little bit at the end of series 3?
I don't think she does.
You
I think
might
this
be
is the
right.
only time we see this happening because the show doesn't really use narration a lot. Like, we get it
No.
in End of Time from someone who we'll talk about later. But yeah, and then this we get it here. I think this is the only companion who gets a little narration moment, which just again proves how iconic our girl Rose Tyler is. Like, she can't be beat.
She really is that girl.
She is.
And this last review I have is from the website themediumisnotenough.com. And this was written by Rob Buckley on July 3rd, 2006. And it's a pretty lengthy review, but I will just read a snippet that I selected. He said, the plot was full of holes, which can be forgiven, but Torchwood built Canary Wharf to investigate the anomaly in the sky. So where the heck was the Void ship all this time, just lurking there in the sky? Funny, I'm pretty sure most of London would have spotted it. Or did Torchwood somehow manage to carry the ship back up to the top of Canary Wharf, even though they can't touch it once they built it, with presumably the void ship lurking in East London in a pub or something until it was time to come up? And how come Torchwood was telling everyone when it was going to conduct its experiment so there would be ghost forecasts? Renovation work on Canary Wharf, it's not that old, and wouldn't Torchwood's director know about it? And wouldn't the Cybermen have come through the anomaly and be spotted? But any plot has problems when exposed to the cold light of day, so let's not get too caught up in that. So, it's my understanding the void ship was in the void. They just detected the energy source.
Yeah, I think the void ship came later, perhaps. Maybe
I think
when they started the ghost ships. I don't know, but I don't think it was just floating in the middle of London.
Oh, I don't think so either.
The construction is kind of crazy. Though I always think about that scene of Freema going through the plastic tarps, trying to find whatever his name was. I do always think about that.
Same.
Any final thoughts before we go?
This was actually a great finale episode, and off-screen the Daleks and Cybermen went away, and Rose and the Doctor are traveling together forever, so case closed. We don't have to talk about Doomsday because it doesn't exist.
Nope. Yeah. Well, we're done. We'll see you guys during the Runaway Bride.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to talk about how Ten says Jackie makes a bad cup of tea, as if her tea didn't bring him back to life in the Christmas invasion.
No, literally. Ten, what are you on about?
The disrespect.
The shade. Jackie didn't deserve that. But it is such mother-in-law, son-in-law antics.
Oh, they have such mother-in-law, son-in-law energy. Did we talk about how she kisses him when they walk in the door?
No.
Oh, I think that scene is so funny, and I love how their relationship has evolved. When she first met the Doctor, she slapped him, and now she's so happy to see him, and she's like, "Come here, you're mine, oh mine." That's her son, and y'all can't change my mind.
Completely agree with you. Oh, we also didn't mention why Mickey is back. We mentioned he's back, but we didn't even say why.
I was gonna say, I feel like we didn't talk about Mickey enough.
No, we didn't. He's back because the Cybermen just disappeared from Pete's world all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And Mickey and the rest of them, which we'll find out who the rest of them is in Doomsday, were chasing after them and figured if the Cybermen could get through, so could they. And so Mickey came and became Samuel at Torchwood.
How did Mickey get his job? How did he become Samuel? How, did Torchwood not figure out who he is? Come on.
That's what I want to know, because even when Rose showed the psychic paper, they were like, we all have a basic training of psychic
yeah
ability, so that's a fake and you're a fake. So how did they not detect him? But also at the same time, in Love and Monsters, the Torchwood Files had photos of Rose, but yet they accepted that Jackie was Rose in this episode.
Well, remember, her file was corrupted by the bad wolf virus.
Yes, but remember, Elton had her picture and had her name to search for her.
See, guys, Russell T Davies finales, they always are a little messy, and that's why we love them or hate them, but it comes with the territory.
It does. It's his brand.
It is. It really is. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We will be back next week with Doomsday. But until then, you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at timey-wimey-pod.
And email us anything and everything to timey-wimey-pod@gmail.com. And feel free to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform.
Yeah, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Talk to you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.